Former Ohio police officer pleads not guilty to new charge in shooting of Andre Hill. A former Ohio police officer already facing murder charges stemming from the fatal shooting in December of Andre Hill, pleaded not guilty Wednesday morning to an additional count of reckless homicide in the case. Fired Columbus officer, Adam Coy, 44, who is free on $1 million bail, appeared in Franklin County Common Pleas Court wearing a gray suit, blue tie and a mask. His attorney, Mark Collins, entered a not guilty plea on Coy's behalf, and asked Judge Stephen L. McIntosh to make no changes in the bail arrangements. In an unexpected move, prosecutor Anthony Pierson informed McIntosh that 2 dereliction of duty charges filed against Coy are being dismissed. Pierson did not elaborate on why the charges are being tossed. One of the dereliction of duty counts concerned Coy's failure to turn his police body camera on until after he fired shots at Hill. But his camera automatically activated and recorded 60 seconds of the episode without sound. Coy has already pleaded not guilty to charges of murder and felony assault. McIntosh reminded Coy the conditions of his bail forbids him from possessing firearms and contacting any potential witnesses who might be called to testify in the case, including law enforcement officers associated with the case. The only time Coy spoke during the hearing was when McIntosh asked him if he had any questions regarding his bail conditions. "I do not, Your Honor," Coy said. McIntosh set Coy's next court date for June 7. Hill, a 47-year-old black father and grandfather, was shot to death by Coy, who is white, on December 22. Officers were responding to a 311 non-emergency call for a noise complaint. Body camera footage showed Hill being shot when he emerged from the garage of a friend's home holding a cell phone. Police body camera footage released in December showed officers handcuffing an apparently lifeless Hill after he was shot multiple times, without rendering first aid. Coy told officials he thought he saw a firearm on Hill, prompting him to open fire. Hill had a cell phone in his left hand. No weapons were found. Derek Chauvin, juror, says trial was like watching somebody die on a daily basis. Brandon Mitchell, juror 52 in the trial against former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin for the murder of George Floyd, said being in the courtroom for the high-profile case was like watching somebody die on a daily basis. But Mitchell, a 31-year-old basketball coach at North Community High School in Minneapolis, said he and the other 11 jurors didn't watch the news during the trial or deliberations, so they weren't aware of the racial climate or protests going on outside. "We were really just locked in on the case," Mitchell told ABC News' Robin Roberts in his first television interview, which aired Wednesday on Good Morning America. "I mean, those things are just so secondary because you're literally, throughout the trial, watching somebody die on a daily basis, so that stress alone is enough to take your mind away from whatever's going on outside of the four walls of the courtroom," he added. Chauvin, 45, was filmed kneeling on Floyd's neck for more than 9 minutes while arresting him on May 25, 2020. After responding to a call at a Minneapolis convenience store where Floyd allegedly used a counterfeit $20 bill. Floyd, a 46-year-old black man who was unarmed and in handcuffs at the time, died after crying out that he couldn't breathe as Chauvin, who is white, ignored him. The widely seen video of the incident, which was taken by a bystander, sparked days of anti-racism protests and calls for police reform both nationwide and abroad. "It's a historic video, unfortunately," Mitchell said. "It was probably the most important piece of evidence." More, why George Floyd's death reverberated in Africa. The Hennepin County Medical Examiner's Office in Minneapolis later classified Floyd's death as a homicide, saying his heart stopped as law enforcement restrained him and compressed his neck. Chauvin was arrested and charged with second-degree unintentional murder, third-degree murder and second-degree manslaughter. Chauvin's trial began in March. He did not testify. It probably was to his detriment that he didn't take the stand because people were curious on what his thoughts were throughout the entire incident, Mitchell said. After more than 10 hours of deliberations over the course of 2 days, the sequestered jury announced on April 20 that they had reached a unanimous verdict finding Chauvin guilty on all charges. He will be sentenced on June 25. Mitchell said the deliberations were relatively straightforward but that there were a few hiccups with terminology and understanding exactly what the instructions were. "There wasn't too much banter back and forth," he noted. "I think the one juror that was kind of, I wouldn't say slowing us down but was being delicate with the process more so, was just kind of hung up on a few words within the instructions and just wanted to make sure that they got it right." Mitchell said he wanted to publicly extend his condolences to Floyd's family and let them know that his name is going to live on. His legacy is now cemented in history. It's now become so much bigger than him as an individual, he said. It will hopefully create some change within society.